Welcome back to the All Things Considered Disc Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob, joined now live in the studio by Cam Dog Homie. The prodigal son has returned.
That's right.
Cameron, tell them what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, a few things as usual. First off, we are back in the studio. I'm back from the first wave of filming the 50 State videos. If you haven't watched, the first two are out. Definitely need to go check those out. They're pretty sick. Ricky Wysocki movement, a lot of speculation going on there. And then the last one we've got is the All-Star event has a few changes that we're going to get into. So first things first, I'm back.
Yeah, no, I've been waiting. I mean, we talked on the phone basically every day. But I have been really excited to get to talk to you about all the different courses you went to, because now we're officially, like Cameron and I usually, before we had the store in particular, we pretty much played every course together. Like there was hardly a course that Cameron had played that I hadn't, and vice versa. But that's kind of out the window these days. Cameron travels a lot, plays a lot of great courses. And so I, for one, just to go ahead, I know this, but maybe the people don't know this. Give us a little bit about the schedule for like when these videos are going to happen, and then what you're doing in the video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, so for those that don't know, and it's funny, I feel like I have to like weirdly justify that. Like, so I played 10 courses the past 2 weeks. I traveled like, and I don't want to get too specific because I want it to be a surprise. I say I'm in the videos where I'm going next, but I was basically, Southeast America, and then kind of moved up a little bit. But yeah, I'm playing obviously the number one courses, and I'm playing straight up stroke play because I want, I guess that was more of a personal thing to see like, how I fare against these courses. And I will be honest, some of them are absolutely incredible. Like obviously if you've seen Persimmon Ridge, I know a lot of people in the area that I've talked to have been there and played it before. It's just like this crazy championship level course, but there's some that are actually just on public land. Like it's literally just a public park open 24/7. So it's kind of interesting that like you get that good mix of like, of courses that even though they're number one, they're like incredibly easy to access. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. I have 3 more trips planned, and this was probably the shortest one, and I was gone like right at 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, that just honestly goes to show you the whole like access to those types of courses. Like for us, for example, we're in Missouri, and we're kind of in an unfortunate part of Missouri for like accessing the best courses in the neighboring states, because for us, Persimmon Ridge is like 4 or 5 hours away into Arkansas.
It's like 3.5, but yeah, it's not close.
And then it's basically the same distance to Eagles Crossing. And Eagles Crossing, you have to pay like $35 to play.
I think it's $42 minimum.
$42 to play the course. And it's like, talk about like the difference in accessibility. $42 paywall for a great course, don't get me wrong. But $42 versus it's a park. You know what I mean? So, but I'm sure that also kind of went into some of the quality. So tell me a little bit about like what your favorite course was that you played. And then, go ahead and tell the people like maybe what your favorite state was that you visited.
That's funny. That's a really good question. I feel like I'm getting interviewed.
I haven't seen you. This is the first time I've seen you since you've been back.
I know. I think my favorite for sure so far is Persimmon Ridge. And I think I would maybe a bit biased. I've played it before. I played it in this video. I think that was like my second time out there. So I knew what I was getting into, and I knew the quality of the course. So I think I know other courses are definitely gonna beat it, once we get there. But what was the other question? Honestly, I forgot.
It was your favorite state that you visited. Because I remember, like, you specifically said, for any of you that have played Red Dead Redemption 2.
I was actually going to talk about that.
The Louisiana course, he said it was basically like you were in the outskirts of Saint Denis playing disc golf.
Yeah, it was actually really crazy. I had to do a little bit of research, but like, for those that don't know or do know, if you don't know, look it up. The cypress trees is what they're called.
Cypress trees.
They have like, it just looks like they're dead, but they have the moss like hanging down. That's exactly what it looked like with disc golf baskets everywhere. So it's pretty cool. Definitely being south. Like when I was in Arkansas, the day I played Persimmon Ridge, it was like 30 degrees. I think it got up to like maybe like 36 or 37 if I remember. But as soon as Texas was even a little chilly, but as soon as I got to Louisiana and Florida, it was like mid 60s and sunny, and I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah. So it's actually nice today, but yeah.
And then how often can people expect to see these videos?
Yeah, so it's funny. I do feel like I'm getting interviewed with this. But the videos come out every Friday, so Today's Monday. There was one posted in Texas last Friday. Louisiana will be up this Friday, and then every Friday after. And I believe Dad and I did the math. I want to say that by the time state number 50 comes out, it should be the last week in December.
Yeah, that's hype.
This will
That's
end
hype.
before 2025. So
That's
it's pretty
hype
cool.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad to have you back. Yeah, it was an interesting couple of weeks without having you here. I'm sure the local community also probably thought that because Cameron's kind of our main guy at the store. He and Dad are here, a lot. So yeah, I'm sure you were missed by the local people. You were missed by us. So glad to have you back.
Yeah, so I wanted to say something too about I'm just like filing through all the courses in my brain now.
Yeah.
Tom Brown Park in Florida is one that I played. I forget what I shot. Oh gosh, what was it? I shot well. It wasn't like crazy. I think I maybe like 2 down, honestly.
Come on.
If I remember. But the Open at Tallahassee is going on right now. And they're playing there for, I think, 3 rounds. So I need to go back. Like, I need to remember and go back and check and see, what place that would be. You know what I mean? Because,
after one round.
It was crazy. Yeah, and I'm glad I got there when I did. So I got there on a Monday, and, as soon as, and, it's funny. We've been doing YouTube stuff for so long. Like, it's not uncommon for me. Actually, I don't know the last time I played a round that wasn't recorded. But it's funny. Anytime I'm recording, obviously I'm in public somewhere, I get so self-conscious. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it's like, who am I to be?
Even still.
Yeah, and it's like, Albert Tam pulled in, Sarah Hokum was there, Raven Newsom was there, and they're all throwing, and they're obviously just dicing the course, And then I'm like, I did well, but I was still like, I feel so out of place right now. But I'm glad I got there. I played it on a Monday, and the tournament is now. It would have sucked so bad if I got there on Friday or something and
couldn't play
it.
Yeah, that'd been
brutal.
brutal.
Had to skip, especially because that's so far away from here. But yeah, there's a lot of great courses that will be posted again every single Friday. So if that's something you're interested in, absolutely check it out. That's all I got for the 50 states. If you got anything else.
Yeah, my only other thing, if you watched this last Friday's video, you probably saw that we had a special guest, Mr. Jake Hebenheimer,
My guy.
newly sponsored by Prodigy. Super happy for him, very excited. And he did an excellent job of being a co-host on those videos with Cameron. But we're hoping to have some other people involved in those videos. So if you guys know of anybody in the local community as we're coming through, and by we, I mean Cameron, is coming through your state, let us know. Cameron would love to connect and link up with some people. And even still just to play in the rounds. If you want to play with Cameron, let him know. And we'll see if we can get some other people involved in some of these videos as well.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about that. I think I dropped the ball. So my 10th course was Tennessee at Harmon Hills in Limestone, Tennessee. And so, I mean, I should have reached out to Chris Dickerson. Not that he would have been like, yeah, I'll go play with this guy that I don't know that has a YouTube channel. Why not? But I definitely think that was a missed opportunity. So I will be more adamant at trying to reach out. But I do know with the tour schedule and everything, that will be hard to work around
Sure.
people's off seasons, or if I can time it well enough.
Might not be as hard as it was in the past.
Maybe not. I don't know. But timing it well enough to where I can maybe be at that course the week of the tournament. You know what I mean? So it's
Kentucky's Idlewild.
Right.
So.
We can still get a fun video, but it's still a practice round. It's not like they're going out of their way to come try to do this for me.
Sure.
But yeah, super excited for those.
Like I said, I would argue that, I think I said this last week on the podcast, but I would argue that this is probably one of the most ambitious disc golf YouTube series out there. Playing every state. I mean, I just can't fathom you going to Alaska to play disc golf.
I still haven't decided if I'm going to drive or fly, because I'm not a big planes guy, but it's no joke. It's a 70-hour drive. So I'm not, that's a beast in and of itself just to get there. Especially because basically what I did, again, just pulling back the curtain, is I played 10 courses in 2 weeks for this first wave, and I drove to the course, slept, woke up, played the course, drove to the next course, slept, woke up, played the course, drove to the next course for 2 weeks straight. I think there was only a couple days where I had a day in between, and that was one Persimmon Ridge because they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, and that was my own fault for not doing the research there. So missed out on that one. And then the course in Louisiana, they got snow, which obviously
Crazy.
they're not used to. So the course, it wasn't even bad. Like it was nothing, but they were still closed as like a precautionary thing. So that was a bit unfortunate. But yeah, I was really grinding, and as fun as it was honestly like I was
Probably exhausting, yeah.
Well, and like I was telling Dad about it. I was like, it was taxing. Like not even just the driving. Like that's already like just sitting for hours on end, basically. But like, especially someone that throws a lot of forehands. Like by the end, I'm playing like basically like, and some of them aren't quite, but basically playing championship level course after championship level course. Like my shoulder was like.
Yeah.
It was toast.
Yeah,
it still
you're gonna
is
start
right now.
implementing some stretching into your
I
routine.
still think I'm young. I can just show and go. But
Yeah, about to be 25 this year.
Yeah. Okay, man. We don't need to.
That's
don't
crazy.
need to expose me.
Quarter of a century.
Yeah. But yeah, be on the lookout for those.
We're also going to be releasing some shorter versions of those videos on like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and stuff. So we'd love for you to go watch the long form version of it because it's obviously the most detailed / you get to see the most shots from Cameron. But if you just want to see like the highlights of the course and what Cameron rates them, those will also be available on Instagram and YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things too that I failed to mention, that I'm rating all of these courses. So like by the end, and it's super subjective because it's all my own personal opinion on the course, but I'm rating the top 50 courses in the United States, well in each state, and then rating those in my own personal top 50. So we'll have a top 50 of the top 50 by the end of this, and it's updated obviously every week. So by well, even next week we'll have the top 3 on the screen you could see there. And so yeah, definitely if you want to see like by the end 50 of 50, you can see my personal top 50 in all 50 states. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. But
what else we got?
We've got Ricky Wysocki on the move.
Yeah, here's the deal. I think you and several of our friends have mentioned this in the past, that you're just like not Ricky fans in general.
Which is, I know that's such an unpopular opinion, but, and I'll justify it by saying this, that when I first got into disc golf, when we did, Paul McBeth was the guy.
Sure.
And so if I'm like, if I'm going to follow anyone, I want it to be the best. You know what I mean? And Ricky was always on the coattails. Coattails.
Yeah.
I think I was mixed it with boot heels too. But the coattails of Paul. So I was like, well, and maybe it's a root for underdog, but Ricky's not even really an underdog. But I don't know. It was just one of those things. It was like he was almost, in my eyes, the bad guy because Paul was my guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's... My opinion really hasn't... I don't dislike Ricky, but I like to see other people win sometimes, honestly.
Ricky,
if you see this, I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. It's just... I don't know what it is. It's nothing with you. I'm sure you're a great person.
Yeah, it's just like I follow Ricky on Instagram like for fun, like not because I want to see his disc golf stuff, but I just like him and I like watching the way he interacts with the world. I think he's a fun dude. I think he is a really, really awesome mix of like the best parts of disc golf. We kind of got some heat in the comment section about like our thoughts on like competition and rivalry in disc golf, but I think Ricky is honestly like a perfect medium of those two things. He is absolutely ferocious when he wants to turn it on, and no one's his friend on. Like, here's the deal. This is actually the best example. After the Pro Tour Championship, obviously Ricky was rightfully upset at the situation, at him losing, blew a big lead to Gannon, lost out on I think $10,000, separated first and second, a lot of money. And he had a big lead, and he was rightfully mad, and was like, "Yeah, I told Gannon, good job. I don't really know what else you want me to say in this post round interview." Rightfully angry, fiery, wanted to win. The competition was there. He wasn't like, "I'm just so happy that Gannon Buhr crossed $200,000 and I missed out on $10,000." But then you have 2-3 months later. You've got the Memorial Championships, and Gannon's jumping over him into his pool on his Instagram. So it's like you still have that, like they can be friends, that camaraderie, but like when it's business time, Ricky's going to handle his business. You know what I mean? He's out there to win, but he also obviously can still but he can be a actual person and be friends with people. So that's why I like Ricky. And so I also feel like he tends to he's like one step behind Paul in the trends. So like you saw this huge contract from Paul. I think was it 2021 when he got the 10-year, $10 million?
Something like that, yeah.
2020 or 2021, he got the 10-year, $10 million contract. And that was awesome. Like that was a huge step for disc golf. At that time, it was like probably one of the, it had to have been the first multi-million-dollar contract. Maybe not the first $1 million, but first multi-million-dollar contract. And you saw this, and for Ricky, he's easily at that time, the second, maybe third best, if you have Calvin in the mix there at that time. He's easily the second or third best player in the world. And he gets a multi-million-dollar offer from Dynamic that just didn't work out. Right. But you just constantly see that he finishes, second behind Paul in the 2014 and 2015 World Championships. Obviously then gets his own in 2016 and 2017, but then he's been stagnant ever since then. Hasn't won a major since then. Got this huge contract right after Paul got this huge contract, but obviously it looks like Paul's doing just fine with his. And Ricky, as we're going to get into, is, he and Dynamic Disc have now mutually parted ways. So he's actually losing out on the last, presumably he's losing out on that last year's worth of his contract. And so I think that ultimately what I really want to implore, because Ricky's probably not going to watch this, but if you do, and maybe you've already made your decision, but please go to a manufacturer that, number one, will appreciate you, and number two, already has popular discs. That's not a slight at Dynamic, but it's just a fact that Discraft, Innova, MVP moves plastic no matter what. And I have never thrown a Ricky Wysocki General, but I threw the heck out of some Ricky Destroyers in 2018 when I first started playing disc golf. And that's where I learned Ricky Wysocki's name, was watching Jomez coverage, and that his name was on my Frisbees. That's how I knew who he was. And so that's my plea. And maybe, we'll find out where he's going, during this podcast, or probably most likely right after it, because that was the podcast curse. We found out that he was leaving Dynamic the next day after we record. So that was a bummer. But that's my plea to Ricky. Please go to a company that has popular discs, that if they put your name on it, you will succeed, and your discs will sell well. That's what I want from you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a great little monologue there.
Yeah, thanks.
That was. Yeah.
I'm really passionate about Ricky because
that was crazy.
Because Dynamic just did him so dirty, quite honestly. Well, the price point of their discs were just so expensive.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't say they did him dirty, but they definitely could have tried harder in the marketing. I think they left it up to the Ricky Wysocki name to sell discs.
Yeah.
Which I think probably worked to a certain extent.
Oh, for sure.
But that's not going to work as much as
3 years later.
Sure, especially that. But as a Discraft, who's literally, they're making new plastic. Like the Fuse stuff is crazy with those buzz saws, but they're shoving it in your face.
Yeah.
Which to some people, maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't like that, you don't respond well to that. But for, I would say, the vast majority, anytime you can get something new in front of the people, regardless, I know there's people out there that regardless, if it's another custom stamp ESP zone, they're going to buy it because it's a zone.
Yep.
Even though they have 15 more ESP
why don't you just get on Discraft's website right now and see if Kale LaVisca's zone is even still, I'm sure it's sold out.
Probably is.
Because that's what I'm saying. And I think that's a big thing. I think Germ's going to blend well with MVP. Obviously, he's playing well. He's throwing well. He won one of the Tour Down Under events. But if I'm Jeremy, I know that MVP sells like hotcakes. People can't keep their hands off of that plastic. And so you're like, yeah, sure, I'll throw my name on something that's already going to be sold and make, a few dollar royalty on each purchase. Absolutely, I will do that. And so that's what I hope for Ricky is. It would be weird, I think, for him to go to a Discraft, particularly because of the past with Paul. But who cares, honestly? Because if you throw, did you find the zone or is it gone?
No, you can still get some.
You can still get some.
Discraft Factory Store if you're really into it.
Yeah, I wonder how many they made.
I don't know. They look like a lot. If you watch Kale's promo thing of him,
because he grabbed a bunch for player packs and stuff.
Yeah, there was a huge.
And maybe they've restocked initially, but again, the same thing with Ezra and the Buzz. Ezra's Buzzes almost sold out in a day. maybe 48 hours, and they were almost
Yeah.
sold out. And so it's just one of those things where if you're Ricky, you can throw your name on a disc that's already one of the best-selling discs in the world, and you're going to do so well for yourself. And so that's something I do want for him. But it would be a little weird to see him throwing buzzes and throwing zones.
Yeah, and we
Has he
talked-
ever been sponsored by them? Because I feel like people used to bounce around a lot back
No,
in the
I think
day.
maybe. I know he went. What was it? Latitude Prodigy or Prodigy Latitude? Either way,
I think
there.
Latitude was before Innova.
Okay, so
I'm
it's
fairly
Prodigy, Latitude, Innova, back
Back to Dynamic.
to Dynamic.
Yeah.
I think that's it,
Yeah.
to my knowledge. So no Discraft yet. However, I'm pretty sure that's like the popular choice at the moment. Which Jacob and I talked about this for a bit, like because especially with I don't know with disc golf, you have some legacy players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's almost like the joke, like how does this affect LeBron's legacy and like anything that's totally unrelated to basketball even. But it's like if Ricky goes and joins Discraft, and this might be a hot topic, you can come at me in the comments if this is a hot take or not. But I feel like this almost tarnishes the Paul Ricky rivalry a bit, in my opinion, because it's almost like he's almost conceding to Paul by joining, because you have to admit that Discraft is Paul's team. You know what I mean? It is
Interesting.
nobody. Am I wrong to say that?
I mean, who's the team captain?
Well, I mean, technically still Paul, but just not the one I'm thinking
Not the
of.
one you were talking about.
But he's almost conceding, like, yeah, Discraft makes the best discs. You know, I want to join you guys. You know what I mean? Rather than going, and I get you're still competing against each other, it's still an individual sport, but it's like I still feel like he's almost giving that up, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard because disc golf has got this really weird thing going on where they act like manufacturers are teammates.
Absolutely.
And in one sense, they
You're
help
like
each
not-
other out, because it's like, yeah, you're going to try to encourage people to buy my Paul Macbeth Tour Series Luna or Kratos or whatever one he's going to do. And in the same vein, he's going to encourage people to go buy Yuli's Captain's Raptors. But yeah, when push comes to shove on Championship Sunday at the World Championships, Paul Ulibarri is going to try to beat Paul Macbeth with no remorse. Like, he doesn't care. He wants to win that tournament. And they are not teammates in that moment. So it's almost like they're business teammates, but not, on the course teammates,
Right.
obviously. Because, it's an individual sport.
Yeah, no, and I totally see where you're coming from, and I think for whatever reason, especially people in our comments that sometimes apparently do not like competition amongst people. Everyone has to be friends all the time.
Because
which-
disc golf's good vibes, man.
I know, but it's at the pro level that just can't be the case. Like, I think it's cool that Gannon and Ricky can still like hang out like that, even
Sure.
though they're like fierce competitors. But like I guess maybe call me old fashioned, but
Okay, old-fashioned.
I know I wouldn't. I feel like I wouldn't be into that. You know what I mean?
I mean,
but
but
again,
that's the
I'm
thing,
not
is they
at
can
that
still-
level or anything. But it's like, I think I would have my select group of friends, that you travel with. Like, that's pretty common. But if there was a guy like week in and week out, like,
Beating me?
right? Like, well, let's even go back. Let's just say 2015 is now 2025 or whatever we're in.
Okay.
And Ricky and Paul are at the peak. Any other given week, well, I guess 2015, Paul was pretty much winning.
LOL,
almost.
yeah.
But,
let's use 2016 as an
but
example.
sure. So, but like Paul and Ricky, one of them will win every week. But it's like on the weekends, Paul comes over and they just chill, But then am I weird to think that's weird?
I think people that grew up playing other team sports don't think that's weird. Because, like, I would not... Some people did that. Like, I remember in high school, like, some of my high school basketball teammates would be good friends with buddies that were, like, from our other local area high schools. And they would go and hang out before and after games. And I thought that was super weird. So actually, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just a personal preference.
I guess, and I don't know. You guys can come at me in the comments.
It's probably the same types of people that are like get mad at board games, like us,
Yeah, that's actually probably true.
So maybe we just have a problem.
Yeah, that board game analogy was actually genius because
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
But so I don't know. Maybe good for Ricky. What?
I guess he's
I
not even
changed
there
my
yet
mind.
because like the other one I've heard is Latitude 64, the true return home.
That would be. And honestly,
But does that solve his problem though?
No, but here's my thing. Now with that, I'm going on a soapbox here real quick.
Okay.
If I were Isaac, I would be so upset.
Would you?
Well, okay, and it depends on how you look at it, because Ricky would bring a lot of business, and Latitude would sell discs, and that's great. But I think, like, Kristen Tatar is obviously the woman for Latitude 64. Isaac is now the guy for Latitude 64. You know what I mean? So now you have Isaac. He's kind of top dog. And then you have Ricky come in, and it's like, oh, well, now we're kind of, like, competing for, like, the guy. You know what I mean?
I don't think Isaac needs to be the guy, though.
Why not?
I really don't think Ricky needs to be the guy.
Isaac is low-key, has a better career than Ricky.
That was a really silly statement.
How many?
That
was impulsive. How many?
Do you just want to go ahead and rewind that?
How many world titles does Ricky have?
2.
Well, so does Isaac.
Yeah, how many other wins does look up the stats? How many wins does Ricky Wysocki have in his career? I'll tell you how many he's had just with dynamic discs. 20. Okay,
and you only know that because of the post on it.
Yeah, I sure do, because it's relevant information. And Isaac Robinson last year, his only win was Worlds. And before that, his only win was Worlds and Idlewild. I think he has 3 career wins on the Pro Tour.
Okay, so scenario, and this isn't even really our main topic.
That was crazy.
Topic. Okay, that maybe was a little outlandish, but let's say Isaac wins this. Let's say he wins Worlds 3 years in a row. He still doesn't have a better career than Ricky.
No.
So how many Worlds does he have to win until you put him?
If he won just Worlds?
Sure.
I think 3 or 4 or 4. Because I was thinking about it more. I thought there were more people that were 3-time, but there's a lot of 2-times.
Yeah.
Like there's Barry Schultz is a 2-time, Juliana Korver is a 2-time, I think.
I think you have to look at too, though, that this, what was that, last year where Calvin won Player of the Year, but everyone was saying it should be Isaac because he won Worlds. Worlds holds the most weight out of any tournament,
which is preposterous.
I actually think so too, but that's a matter of the fact. That's the way it is. So I think it's.
I feel like Worlds is more important now that it's in Europe. Actually, I feel better about it.
That's going to be a huge one. Anyway. Who do you have winning that, real quick?
Worlds?
Yep.
I'm going to pick Gannon for pretty much every tournament now. So
yeah, that's probably fair.
Particularly because he also destroyed that course last year at the European Open.
Yeah, he did kind of go crazy. I'm gonna go Paul McBeth for no reason other than if he wins, he is like I feel like even the Ken Climo debate, if he wins Worlds in Europe, is over. In my opinion, maybe I just have garbage.
7 to 12 is pretty close, I guess. LOL.
Well, I mean that's like
I would go crazy on some 7-claw discs though.
What do you think they do that, or do you think they do something else?
I think got to keep going with the claws.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe you're making me rethink everything. Like maybe I just have garbage takes and I shouldn't do this.
You're not as far off on the Ken Climo thing, but they're just really trying to make Ken hype right now, which is maybe why I'm also skewed. But the Ricky Wysocki thing was out of pocket for sure.
I don't know. I don't think that.
Let us know in the comments. Let us know, I guess.
Yeah, spare my.
And that's no hate on Isaac Robinson. You got to also consider Isaac's like 24.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Is there so much weight on Worlds, and Isaac has now tied Ricky in who knows how many less years. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess that's the problem is that Ricky hasn't.
Let's say at the end of the career, you can probably go, yeah, Ricky won X amount of majors compared to Isaac's X amount of majors at the end of their careers. But it's like the same thing as NBA titles. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why people say Michael Jordan is better than LeBron, is because Michael Jordan has more titles than LeBron, even though LeBron has more in like every single other stat. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the careers, if Isaac has more Worlds, that makes him quote unquote better. He had a better career.
Okay, I think this is the basketball analogy.
Okay, answer me this. Has Isaac had a better career than Calvin?
That's more debatable, I would say.
I mean, I feel like it's not, though.
You think Calvin has or Isaac has?
I think if you're looking solely based on accolades, Isaac has had a better career than Calvin Heimberg. No hate to Calvin. That's my guy. I love Calvin. But
So your only argument for that though is that simply because he hasn't won a major.
pretty much, yeah, he hasn't won anything like super significant. You know what I mean?
So you're saying every other Elite Series is not significant.
I mean, sure it is, but at the end of the day,
So at the end of the day, let me ask you this. Because I don't know as much golf. I feel like golf is more receptive to this than basketball. No offense. But because that's a team game, you know what I mean? Wasn't just LeBron, wasn't just MJ.
Sure.
But if you look at like a guy like Tiger Woods, if Tiger Woods doesn't win, I think he won 3 Masters. If Tiger Woods doesn't win any Masters, is he still one of the greatest golfers of all time? I also could have just made up that stat.
I feel like he could have more. 1,
4.
2, 3, 4,
Oh,
5.
5. But how many career wins though does he have?
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So I'm saying you're giving too much weight to those premier events.
107 worldwide wins.
Can we look at tour wins specifically, like PGA Tour wins?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'm trying to prove a point.
82 PGA Tour wins.
So you're saying that if he had 77 PGA Tour wins and none of them were Masters, would he not still be the greatest? That's crazy.
Well, it's crazy because he has done those things. We don't know what it would be like had he not done that. You know,
Right,
what I
but
mean?
that's what I'm saying with like Calvin. Calvin has that. He has the dubs. He wins. He just doesn't win majors.
Well, so does Isaac though. You're going off last.
But
season.
Isaac doesn't have. He has one other Tour Series win. Idlewild 2022.
No, he's won more than that.
Maybe I'm crazy.
I think you are crazy.
I know he played well.
What year are we going off of here?
I don't know. 2023, I think, was his.
Yeah, 2024. He won Worlds was literally his only win.
That was last year.
Yeah, that's what I said. 2023, he won Champions Cup.
He was the. I was like,
Champions Cup and Worlds that year. So I guess he only had 2 that year.
Yeah, I think that's what I said. I just had.
But there was one year where I thought he really popped off.
He won one tournament. I think it was Idlewild.
He won Idlewild. Man, okay. I still don't think I'm far off though.
Yeah, okay, now I was. Yeah, I think we both need to make a concession there because number one, because I was like, yeah, I remember Calvin and him having like a really heated debate on Player of the Year, and I was like, Worlds to me alone doesn't do that, but
No,
the fact
I
that he
agree.
won 2 does emphasize that more.
Yeah,
2
he
in
won-
1 year is crazy. That's
Yeah,
really
and
good.
I think that was the whole thing. Is like he won 2 majors that year.
Yeah,
and that
but
was
nothing
it.
else, yeah.
But Calvin was like top
Calvin won 6
5.
events and
Yeah.
averaged 4.8 in his finishing place.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the problem with Calvin Heimberg for me in that issue is that if you look up Calvin, he's probably got I don't want to make up a number, but I'm sure. So what? We just decided Isaac Robinson has 4 Pro Tour wins in his career. And now Calvin's played longer, but I'm certain that Calvin has 20 plus easily. Maybe even 30 plus. He just doesn't have majors. So we're saying that Calvin has had a worse career? I guess that's the thing. It depends how much weight you put on majors versus just winning.
Calvin last year won DDO. He won OTB Open and oh no, that's President's Cup. So he only had 2 wins last year as well.
See, and that's what's crazy is that like 2 wins didn't get talked about. Nobody cares.
Well, it's tough when Gannon wins 8.
Fair. And Anthony won like 5 or more. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those things where it depends how much weight you put on those specific events. And those specific events are important. And I think if Calvin doesn't win a major in his career, that will haunt him a little bit. And it will affect his legacy a little bit. But I don't think that means that he has had a significantly worse career than Isaac Robinson.
Well, significant. Now you're adding adjectives, but
I still don't think he's had a worse career overall. Because I'm certain he's made more money and I'm certain he's sold more discs.
all right. Let's put a bet right now. Not that this really has anything to do. It sort of does. I'm gonna say Isaac gets more wins this year. What are we putting on there?
Then Calvin?
Yeah.
Do we want to put something on the line right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I will 100% agree to that because I would have won that last year and he only won 2. LOL. But Isaac won World, so he had a better year. Yeah, so I'll definitely take that bet. That might be one of the easiest bets I've ever made.
Wow. Is this just a gentleman's bet? Or is this
No, I want to do something.
All right, we'll try to figure something out. We'll keep moving on.
I'd be willing to do a buzzed head.
Actually, I low-key went too.
Yeah, you kind of rocked the buzzed head with the big beard
Yeah,
look.
but let us know in the comments if you want any input on this.
Quite honestly, one of the
Bet
easiest
should
bets
be.
I've ever made in my life. Let's just go ahead and shake on it now.
Let us know. I'll pin it in the comments. I'm gonna say who thinks Isaac wins more. Like the comment. Who thinks Calvin wins more this year? Like the comment, and we'll see. We'll see what the people think.
I mean, yeah, give us a double or nothing, because I guarantee you Ricky's winning more than Isaac. Guaranteed.
Well, I don't know.
He could be throwing around some whammo stuff, and he's going to beat Isaac more times.
Yeah. Okay, that was.
I feel like I'm giving too much hate to Isaac right now, but this is my same thing
two-time
about
world champ, back-to-back world champ, and you're
bro,
hating on him.
This is my same thing about Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago, and I'm not a Chiefs guy, so I don't mean to start something. But
I won't say anything.
yeah, here's the deal. A couple of years ago, Patrick Mahomes won his second Super Bowl, and they're like, he's better than Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. And I'm like, guys, here's the deal. He could literally, heaven forbid, he could die in a car accident tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Next time he touches a football field, he could get what's the one guy on the Redskins that got his leg flipped up over his neck? Joe Theismann? I mean, come on. Like, that stuff happens. That's real life. And we're going to just act like that? So I don't want to wish that on anybody, obviously. But, yeah. But, yeah, I just don't want to count my eggs before they hatch there,
Sure.
as it said. But, yeah, I mean, Calvin and Ricky are both winning more than Isaac this year, and that's on period.
All right, that took a crazy detour. Let's reel it.
Yeah.
Like, reel it back in. Ricky Wysocki, where do you think he ends up? That's where all this was supposed to go.
Yeah, all that to say, I don't think it's going to be MVP.
I would honestly love that.
I think it'd be
I'm not gonna
cool.
lie to you.
But that's the thing is, I actually really don't care as long as it is a company that has profitable disc sales so that Ricky can actually sell the disc that he puts his name on and succeed. So I don't care.
Sure.
Discraft would be cool. I'd throw a Ricky Wysocki Force for fun. I don't like Discraft disc really, but I'd throw it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of because he had the harp, he had the general. What else did he have? I guess he had the felon. They kind of gave him everything now that I think about
They
it.
really did.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think. And that's what's tough. Because zones and buzzes are so popular. I think
popular.
Discraft is what I've been hearing the most of, so
Yeah,
that's just what's
yeah.
in my brain. I don't think I could take another Ricky commemorative zone or buzz or whatever. Like, let's...
Suit yourself, man.
I know people will buy them. It's inevitable, but... Anyways, let's move on. That clearly got way out of hand. I think it was good, but it got out of hand.
Yeah.
All-Star event changes. I don't know anything about this, so this is you.
Yep, no problemo. So basically, the All-Star event that the Disc Golf Pro Tour puts on is not, to put it lightly, I wouldn't call it complete Cinnabons, but it's moving in that direction. So the Disc Golf All-Star event in the past actually low-key had some hype because they did like a selection type of thing where they would like do a press release of all the players and the different cards they did.
A draft?
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
And they're doing that again this year, the draft portion. But the timing of the event mixed with the lack of any reason to do it other than to say that you're an all-star is going to have to change in the future. Nobody's going to want to do it in the way that they're proposing it. So basically, the Disc Golf Pro Tour said that they're going to be doing the All-Star event the Thursday before the Supreme Flight Open in Florida at Olympus. So the day before the Pro Tour starts, they're going to do an All-Star event that I believe is a draft, and it might even be one round, but it's like the front 9 is best shot doubles, and the back 9 is alternate shot doubles. That's the event.
That's it?
I believe so. I don't think there's going to be a skills thing. There could be, but I don't believe there is. Because they want to give the players time to practice, but they're taking away a day of practice for an event that literally doesn't matter. And so on top of that, they are also, there's going to be 2 All-Star events this year because from this year moving forward, the All-Star event is going to be kind of like the Pro Bowl in the NFL, and it is now going to be the finale. So after the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, the following week, they're going to do an All-Star event at that time.
That's happening this year as well?
Yes. And then it will happen at the
Double
end of the
All-Star
year,
event.
every single season after that. But I think that that's silly because players don't want to do that. I mean, right now it's kind of fun to get to see somebody early when it's like a week early. But right now these players are like, you're taking away a day of my practice time to do an event that doesn't matter to me, other than the fact that I get to say I'm an all-star. And then if you do it at the end of the season, all that it's doing again is taking them from an end of a grueling season and saying, hey, can you spend another week in Lynchburg, Virginia, because that's where it's going to be this year, in Lynchburg, Virginia, playing disc golf for next to no reason, in front of probably no one. Because everyone that's going to pay to go to Virginia is going to go there for the Pro Tour Championships, if they even pay to go there, and they're not going to hang around to watch an all-star event. It doesn't have any pull from a public viewing perception. Sure. People will watch live coverage, you know what I mean? If honestly, some people probably won't. But there's just no reason. So it's got to change a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the end of season one. Well, actually, I think I'm going to play devil's advocate for you.
Sure.
So I am reading this. It's 9 holes of best shot doubles followed by 9 holes of alternate shot. Technically, like, you are taking a day of maybe like some serious practice, but they are still throwing shots on the course. You know what I mean? So they still are throwing. The alternate one is the only one where you're kind of missing a few here and there. But you're playing best shot, so you're throwing off, as far as the front 9 goes, every tee. You know, so you can, depending on how serious I guess you want to take it, because it is supposed to be a fun thing, but you could take it as serious as you want it and really try to throw the best shot, not throw something stupid that might end up incredible, but you're throwing your tournament ready shot. So I don't hate the preseason all-star thing.
Can I add why I think that's still a problem?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
I know you have caddied for a lot of pros. Whenever I caddied for Andrew at USDGC, I saw this. We did a practice round. You've done practice rounds. Andrew threw at least 4 shots off of every tee in his practice rounds.
Sure.
Unless the first one was just like, okay, it's not getting better than that. So still, in this format, you don't get to actually practice. If you throw a bad shot, you're like, okay.
Dang. And then I could see how that could be a problem because you throw a bad shot.
That's the last shot you're probably throwing.
That's still fresh on the brain.
Yeah, the last time you will have thrown the hole, it was buns in the All-Star event.
Sure. No, I guess I can see where you're coming from there. But yeah, I think the fact that they're still getting to throw shots maybe helps a tiny bit.
It was probably talked about in the board meeting when they decided this.
Probably. But I still wish they were doing like the distance stuff and
sure.
The skills challenge. I watched that like a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. That was actually mega lame. But
it's kind of hard to make putting exciting.
Sure. Yeah, that was tough. And like it's funny them trying to like kind of make it look like people were watching on the coverage, but I forget if it was on Tour Life or something like that, but they were like there was like, 40 people there watching them do the putting stuff. But so I think there's the challenge stuff like that, if done correctly, I think is definitely the way to go. Because like as far as this goes, if you're going to go for the All-Star Challenge, you're probably going to be there for the tournament. And it's like, why would you not just like, you're basically just getting one more day of watching them throw.
Yeah.
Which is very valuable to some people, absolutely. But
it's also another day off work for people.
Sure. Yeah, too. I guess I can see that. My beef with here, I'm still playing devil's advocate actually. The end of season one, I think I can totally see how people could be ready to go home after, just depending on like, there's a lot of grinders on tour, so I could see how a lot of people, they literally just don't go home until the season's over. They might have a few breaks in between when there are breaks in the like tour, but I can see how there are people would be ready to go home. But at the same time, you just finished this grueling season, and then you have this. I mean, it's just the select few. You have the All-Star event or whatever after the Pro Tour Championship. Now it's like, all right, now I can just have fun.
Yeah.
It's almost like a break week before now, because you could have just played like trash. It's the double-edged sword. You could have played like trash, but you're in the All-Star event.
Yeah. So
you can go, okay, let's just have fun now. Or you could have won, made $50,000 or whatever it is, and now, dude, who cares what I do tomorrow? Sure. So I can see how that one honestly couldn't be bad either. But like, if I wasn't in the All-Star event, there's a 0% chance I would be sticking around. I would be going home. If I was in it, I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll take another week. We can have fun, whatever. I'll hang out and go. But so that's my devil's advocate there for you.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Are you looking up the?
I am.
All right, I think it's about that time we get to the Price is Wrong. What do you got for me?
So I've got 2 Frisbees for you here.
Selling as the pair.
Selling as the pair.
Beautiful.
Well, the description is ambiguous.
Okay.
There's two in the picture. I'll show you all the pictures. There are two discs here. One of them is a PFN. Let me just go ahead and check the time on it. I believe it is a... Oh, man. Yeah, okay. So we have an 11-time champion eagle, Climo Eagle PFN. And we have a David Fehlberg 2008 Disc Golf World Champion Boss.
Okay.
Okay? Not PFN.
Sure.
The Champion Boss is cracked. Like you can see right here in the image, it's cracked, like my Macbeth Thunderbird. The discs are selling as the pair. The description simply reads Innova, comma, Champion Eagle.
That's all you get?
That's the description.
Okay.
This is the image of the Champion Eagle.
Oh, that's funny. I've actually seen this listing before, but I don't remember the price.
That's
I've
hilarious.
seen
I
that
will
disc
say it is
somewhere.
local. This
Oh, it
listing
is? Oh,
local.
geez.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, boy. That's interesting. All right. So we have a PFN.
So it's a
champion,
two-disc.
Yeah,
Two-disc.
PFN Champion Eagle, obviously beat up, but
Yep,
still a cool
definitely
disc.
worn. Here's a
Um,
picture of them side by side on a wall.
Oh, great. A nice eye-to-eye Champion Boss that is.
Yeah, and we're calling
correct.
your total at $50 right now, BT Dubs from last week.
Oh, I think it's technically 51, right?
It is, yes.
I
I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
appreciate that.
I'll give you double points. You can say, I will tell you this, the price has been deduced clearly from it not selling, but I'll let you know what it was initially listed at.
Okay. Oh,
Like if
geez.
you can do both.
Yeah, let me lock in my discs here because I've sold a lot of PFN discs, so I kind of have a general idea of what it might be.
What's the value on a not PFN cracked disc?
I feel like you just like you just have to like throw that one in there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, if you buy this disc, I'll give you this disc. Man, I feel like I get close to the same numbers every time. I always go back to what I would pay for it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And one, I wouldn't pay for the crack Champion Boss, but if he's like, if I bought the Eagle and he was like, here, just take this, I'd probably be like, all right, why not? Price reduced. I'm going to go. I think it's $55.
That's the reduced price?
Yes,
Okay. Do you want to give me the full price as well? Just so I'll tell you both.
that's a
at once.
bonus. I'll go $100. I don't know. I think that's way too high, but I'm going to go $100.
Okay. The initial price was $100.
Oh, so do I lose points for that? Like I get.
No, that's good.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like my total is $51. Do I get point like
No,
dollars
so it
off?
just stays where it is.
Oh, it just stays-
yeah,
okay,
it stays where it
that's-
is.
yeah, that makes
You
sense.
silly boy.
Let's go.
Now, I don't know how this is going to work because for the first time you were wrong. Actually, on the first one, he lowered the price all the way to $40.
Wow.
Yeah, and you said 55. So I'm not sure how we want to play that out.
I think it just goes both ways. You know, so now I'm at $66.
Sure.
total.
So it's not actual prices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, very good. Yeah. So that was the first
was
one
how
we
much?
actually
45?
overshot. $40.
40. Wow.
I don't know how long it's been listed that he's gone from 100 to 40, but
Really needs to get rid of it.
that's where he's at. So, okay. Well, before we head out, we have the question of the week for you guys. And this one will take a little bit of explaining, but we're going to give you an example. So have no fear if you've been reading the question already. The question is, what is the most over/underrated disc in your bag? And so what we mean by that is, what is a disc that is so underrated that you're like, this disc is awesome and nobody throws it and I don't understand why? Obvious. The more complicated is the overrated, because you're like, why would you put an overrated disc in your bag? And what I mean by overrated is that other people have told you it's the best. And so you've put it in your bag and you don't really have a replacement for it. So it's just there, but you never throw it. And maybe you guys don't have something like that. I have had something like that in my bag ever since I started playing disc golf. And I will tell you what mine currently is. And I don't like it. So it will be leaving the bag shortly. So for my most underrated disc, I am going to go with what might be my new favorite distance driver. I'm sure Cameron knows where I'm going with this direction, is the Sword from Westside Discs.
Absolutely.
It has been an amazing flyer. Right now I have one that's more beat in. Well, actually I don't have any in right now because Cameron took them out of my bag for beating me in the brother battles last year. But I had one that was like a little stable, like flip up to flat, get stable. And then I have another one that's flip up to flat, light turn, and then finishes straight, Cameron's got a sword in his bag now that's just like
It's
Heiser
like-
flip turn.
Yeah, for
Turn over for days.
for a 12 speed 0-2 turn fade, I was like, oh, this should probably be like with my release, which is typically pretty flat, a flat to stable disc, but it's like it's low key a roller, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I actually threw a thrower when I was in South Carolina off the very first hole. So
On accident?
yeah, it was a total accident. It was.
Did it work out though?
It's this big downhill shot. And so I was like, all right, I just want to get a max flight. If I was going to throw the ride, but I was like, it'd probably be too flat and just Heiser out. I was like, I want something that flips up, turn, whatever. It literally just went, flipped over, rolled all the way down the hill, and like, it was like I forget, like a 580-foot hole, and I was pin high.
Oh wow,
I wasn't close to the basket, but I was pin high.
That's cool.
Yeah,
legit.
but
So yeah, that would be my underrated disc. And then I would say the most overrated disc that's in my bag right now. I don't know who put it on one of our comments. I think it was on my first break even video at Lake Springfield. But somebody was like, "Dude, you need to try the
slammer.
Saki Slammers." And I don't mean to be offensive, but I hated every ounce of my being with those frisbees.
You took it out already?
It's not out yet, but it will be before the next video I record. No offense to the slammer, the one that posted that comment. Give me some more discs to try, but the slammer was not it for me. I hated the thumb track feeling. It was a little too deep. My hands are tiny. I also just like threw it poorly. I didn't trust it. I wanted it. It was as stable as I wanted it to be, but I didn't believe that it would be. Does that make sense? Like it was stable, but I didn't think it would be. So every time I threw it soft, or I threw it with too much Heiser because for some reason I thought it would flip for some reason. And yeah, I just didn't trust it, didn't like it, played with it for like 3 or 4 rounds and said never again.
Sounds like you need to give it another chance because you didn't. I mean, I was there for when
All of
you
them, I
throwing
think.
it, but yeah, I would agree that that wasn't your best showing with that disc. But
No.
I think it's tough not to go zone.
Yeah,
Just
I know it. I trust it.
sure,
I
but
like it.
I don't know. I would maybe take it out to the field, give it a few more tries, and see what happens. But again,
Unlikely.
not for everyone. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh, underrated disc in my bag for sure is the Prodigy F3 right
There
now.
you go. There you go.
It is like the one disc. And if you watch the video on, what was that? Last Tuesday, when I was in Florida, about 5 discs I wish I'd had sooner. That is one that I wish I had a long time ago. Because even when I used to have a full Prodigy bag and I still didn't have an F3 in there. But I have a Proto F3, like old school Prodigy. It's money. It's like the one disc in my bag that I can get it to do what I want it to do every single time. And of course, it's underrated because it's Prodigy and everyone hates Prodigy for, I mean, I guess you probably have your reasons. You have reasons, but you probably, I know there's a lot of people
They're just on the bandwagon.
They're on the bandwagon. They've
Yeah.
never thrown Prodigy in their life, but because people say it's bad, they're like, it's got to be bad, which is just simply not the case. But I know some of them are, but for the most part, any new stuff is just like any other disc, if not better feeling, in my opinion. But regardless, F3, super underrated disc. For me, it's like a Heiser flip up to turn if I really pump it, but it's just one of those discs that, yeah, I know exactly what it's going to do every single time. But I'm trying to think of like an overrated disc in my bag, and I think it's tough. I could probably go Destroyer. I feel like that's an overrated. It's probably the most, but I like it a lot. I think it's funny. I'm actually, and this is going to be partly your fault. I think my overrated disc is going to be the sword.
Oh.
I forgot where I got it. I don't remember where I got it, but actually it might have came into our used, and I just tried it. But I've thrown it, 10 rounds now. And I'm starting to figure it out, but it's definitely not, in my opinion, as good as I thought it was going to be. And I think that's because I've thrown yours before, and it didn't do that. So I think that's like my thought process with the disc is way off. So I think, in a weird way, your underrated is my overrated. So thank you for
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah.
But I think that's it.
All right. Yeah. Let us know what your most underrated / overrated disc in your bag is. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back in the studio again next week, and we will see you in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We are so thankful for you guys. We've just passed 1,400 subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy. And yeah, we just love that you guys are along for the journey with us. We love listening to us talk about disc golf stuff. So super excited to get to continue in 2025. We got some big things planned. Cameron's going to go travel a lot more of the country, and we will see you guys in the next one.